So there is a very serious content warning of sexual violence and mental health. However, I do try and go on a journey, and my journey is definitely more of a journey now because I'm performing poems from a different perspective these days. So if you can stick through it and we can go on that journey together, we'll try and come back up at the end. I'm drinking a very, very large bottle of water, so in between the poems, if you can clap long enough that I can pick it up and drink it, that would be great. So for anyone who hasn't seen me before and has no idea what my story is, but I can see some familiar faces, which is really nice from the last time I was here. So the last time I was here for my first book, Unorthodox, and now I'm here with my second book, Into the Ordinary. And my story is one of sexual violence, trauma and attempted kidnapping that happened when I was 16 years old, and then consequently a mental breakdown I had about 9 or 10 years later, because no one knows how to deal with that stuff, because we're not educated on it. So that's when I started writing poetry, and now 7 years on from there, I've got my second book out. The first book is called Unorthodox. I could show you. Unorthodox is called Unorthodox because at the time I was writing this collection of poetry, I felt so unorthodox. I felt like everything I'd experienced and I was going through was completely out of the ordinary. And if the last 7 years or so has taught me anything, yes, sharing my story, but mostly hearing everybody else's, it's that these things aren't out of the ordinary at all. They're actually shockingly commonplace. So the second book isn't called Out of the Ordinary, it's called Into the Ordinary, and this continues the story. They are available to buy from me. I'm going to tell you now, because I'm really shit at plugging my own books, and everyone leaves thinking that they can't get them from me. $9.99, $10.99, I don't know why, inflation I think, I didn't set the prices. But they are available. I have a card reader now because I'm pretentious, so if you would like to pay on card, you can. Cash or card is fine. Okay, so I do like to do a poem from the first book, even though I'm touring the second one, because it ties in the story nicely. So this is going to be the more intense stuff, and then we're going to get a little bit lighter, a little bit easier. So this piece is from the first book, and it's called One Night Stand. Boom, boom, boom. My heart, echoing your knock, knock, knock. My eyes dart at the clock. You're late. I make you wait for all of 15 seconds as I straighten up my hair that's already straight. I push down the handle along with my eagerness. A creak, mimicking myself, questioning, adrenaline rushes to my blushing cheeks. Eyes of intent greet me. Your air of arrogance enters before you, passing my self-control, making it swift exit. This is no Brexit. Drink? After the day I've had? Absolutely. I haven't had that kind of day. But you don't need to know that. This small talk is only in the way. If dignity came served in a tumbler over ice with a slice and tasted like Kraken, you brought rum? Sweet. Then I would drink it neat. But my dignity slips away as seamlessly as the liquor wanders astray into my bloodstream. You're ready to play. I spent just enough time making myself look fine, just enough effort to look hot, plus a little extra effort to make it look like I haven't had to make the effort to look this hot. Your weakness was emphasised when your plunge pool eyes stopped at my thighs. The upper handed to me. I'm in control, but you intended me to be, didn't you? You're unaware of my reasoning, but for that, I thank you. It might be the Kraken telling me to crack on, but I'm all ears. Inhibitions disappear, our chemistry shifting up a gear. As our movements intensify, our bodies become further intertwined. My effervescent screaming availability, the perfect cover for my harboured hostility. But your focus is pinpointed on my agility, my not so graceful motion, and my gnarly flexibility. I was hooked when you lifted me off of my feet, those thighs, you remember, they gripped you. We both felt the heat. Only, since that moment, I was planning my retreat. I parallel my libidinous temperament with yours, overflowing temptation encouraging me to explore. Pressure passes from my body to yours. I privately question how much longer I can endure. All is not as it appears, but you're tantalising my every sense, even through swallowed tears, so I persevere. Because I am worthy of this liberation, your generosity and stimulation, but my mind is rejecting your invitation and I'm writhing away into my foreseen damnation. I feel as though I'm choking on my extreme palpitations, the adrenaline that flushed my cheeks has now activated a fight or flight flirtation in an attempt to convince my mind that this is not an obligation. You're reading my body language has set to my hesitation. We both retract. That trigger word, relax. I shake and I shake off my own Malcolm flashback, a colossal drawback of being damaged goods. To feel like your body has been hijacked. This is shaping up to be one spectacular anti-climax. Thank you very much. Oh, you're so good at clapping for the right amount of time. Thank you so much. Okay. So there was a theme for today, if anybody wanted to write on the theme of finding gold. And when Francis emailed me that theme, he said it came out of the opening of my second book, which is a little verse that says, I don't do small talk. Let's think big. Dig deep. Find gold and share it with everyone around us. And that applies mostly through my collections to mental health and trauma and digging deep to those dark places and sharing it so that we can be relatable and feel like we're not alone. But today I'm interpreting the theme as sharing with you some of the golden people I've met along the way. So this next person who has come and gone in my life over the last few years is my most recent therapist who completely changed my life. And she would say that it was all me, but that's why she's so good at what she does. I'm now training to be a counsellor at the same place that she trained, so that's exciting, very, very exciting. She definitely inspired that journey. So I'm going to tell you about a session I did with her to kind of give you a glimpse of how fantastic she was. I went into a session with her one day and I was really pissed off, and I was angry because different people from different areas of my life were saying things along the lines of, your trauma doesn't define you. You're so much more than your trauma, it's not all that you are. I think it comes from the fact that I talk about it all the time very openly with people, and I think people think that it's all I am and all I think I am, and that is just not the case. This is my purpose, this is what I'm doing. So I took it into therapy and spoke to her about it, and she spent the next 50 minutes entirely validating how I felt and helping me to understand why I was feeling that way. And then I did what we do, and I went away and wrote a poem about it. So this is called Defining Moment. They say, it doesn't define you, you know. My neck hangs like bluebells. The colour of my mood rings out. The blues. Instrumental in the many walks when depression obscures the view. Forget-me-not flashbacks, stinging nettle skin, soothed by a bitter dock, sapping life from within. Daisy chains dress up the way his weight still keeps me down. I want to go out, but his face in the clouds, senses implode when the world resounds. My buttercups don't reflect yellow because butter is fat. And I can't be because he liked me like that. He took away my favourite colour when he took away the sun. A depression that's jealous of yours if it dares to rise in skies of fun. I'm a honeybee. If I wound you once, it's death to me. My thoughts are puffball dandelions carried away so easily. Tornado memories leave me shaking like a leaf. I am mud. Dirty. Still scrubbing myself clean, yet they say it doesn't define you, you know. Character recast with a wardrobe fit for formication. I take my coat from the hook I'm on, keeps me from reaching my foundation. Take my skin crawls on long walks, bridge railings not to be approached. His temper left inside of me, a temper not to be provoked. I'm a lot for me to handle. If only some could be preserved and drip fed in small doses as I become ready for the reserves. Only smile in the mirror when I look familiar. Identities people keep examining. No one respects my new build boundaries. And the next thing I know, I'm panicking. No bad hair days, just bad head days when my tears fall like they're trying to give him praise. Lost my job and pursued my mental state. Went through more pain to prove I'm not insane. There are those that exploit me for their own gain. Can't let me down, expectations were erased. Don't trust the ones by who I was cared and raised. As someone I looked up to, he once filled that space. I'm an explosive with potential to devastate. I won't detonate until I'm far enough away. A monumental illness to which many can't relate. T2 sugars taste the same as a full plate. Don't have a comfort zone even on Sundays. Only time I dance is to ground when my head strays. Live for the clarity that comes after I awake. I'll keep waking even though my comfort is at stake. I keep a towel by my side as a barricade, or perhaps to clean up more of the mess he made. If I'm going to cross you, I will look both ways. And if you hit me, I'll find strength in the pain. I've got more conviction than a court of magistrates. I'm afraid to say the verdict didn't validate. But no conviction gave me more to educate. No conviction gave me more to set the record straight. So when they say it doesn't define me, it makes me feel betrayed. Because if to define is to describe the nature of, my garden doesn't grow the same. And if to define is to establish the character of, I'm unrecognisable except my name. And if to define is to mark out the boundaries of, step back and respect my space. And if to define is to give the meaning of, the moral of my story has been replaced. From being 15 with the world at my feet, believing that people were kind, to being the person I needed when I was 16, looking fear in the eye and making it hide. The dream was to have kids of my own, one day to be somebody's wife. Now the dream is to keep waking up from them, to make sure he doesn't take more of my life. So when they say it doesn't define me, it's more for them than me. They feel uncomfortable that they can't fix the problem that they see. But you see, if they take away the problem, I'm still left with its effects. No trauma but post-trauma disorder, responses to non-existent events. I don't want to only accept a future version of me that may never come to be. And if they're looking for the person I used to be, they don't deserve this me. I can't remember her. Only the events that made her leave. So let me honour their meaning, allow me endless time to grieve, because the force of this is real. You can't disprove gravity. When I say that it defines me, I don't say it in agony. I don't know who I am without the memories. But with them, I'm resilient and I'm bold. And this world needs me, not a version that's trying to fit the image society has sold. Don't get me wrong. He didn't make me strong. That was me. But I'd like to thank him for the lives I could change by him ruining mine, because that is more powerful than an apology. See, maybe I see his face in the clouds, but a cloud is part of something much bigger. And when the clouds disappear, the bigger picture becomes clear. I don't have to find the positives in it, I have to find the power. When they say it doesn't define me, it reminds me not to cower. They mean well, but its meaning brings me tranquility. If every day is a gift, I'll accept the worst ones and use them to the best of my ability. When they say it doesn't define me, they undermine the position I'm in. A defining moment is being urged to make a pivotal decision. And every day since, I've had to decide to keep living. So, to who it may concern, it's not yours to take away. You can stand with me until the clouds disperse, but the weather isn't yours to change. You can be a part of the bigger picture, but you can't return the gifts he gave. And you can't say, it doesn't define me, when it explains who I became. Thank you very much. Thank you for clapping. clapping long enough. I heard it. I heard the moment you all wanted to stop and you were like, nope, she's still drinking. Right, we have one more poem to go. Another golden person that I'd like to mention before I do my final piece about another golden person is Claire Tedstone, because your host and organiser for this, I nearly said this evening, I'm so used to evenings, this morning, is the most incredible person. We met years and years ago now, I don't know how many, but she's absolutely phenomenal, and I've never met somebody that I related to on the level I relate to this woman. And when I was publishing this second book, there was no one else that I would have thought of putting a poem from in the back of this book. So Verve do this beautiful thing, the poetry press that I'm with, where they allow us to put poems from poets that we admire in the backs of our collections. And I went straight to Claire and I was like, I just need a poem from you if you're happy to put it in. So there is the most stunning poem from Claire in this book. And many of you will probably have heard her perform it. And on paper, it is flawless. I cannot tell you how pretty this looks on paper. So even if you're not buying books today and you just want to wander over and have a look at Claire's poem, it's so worth it. There's little butterfly images that she drew herself as well, because she's an incredible artist. So can I have a round of applause for the amazing Claire? Amazing. And whilst we're doing our thank yous, if we can have another round of applause for both Francis and Lorna for making this happen, doing the hosting today. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it so much. Right, this final piece I'm going to perform is about another golden person who's in this room. I won't point him out, but if you all want to turn around and stare at him during the poem, you can. I have spent the last 7 or so years writing about my negative sexual experiences in the hope of raising awareness about what is unacceptable and how we do not behave and what it is like to live with this kind of trauma. But over the last year or so, I gave myself permission to write about a positive experience, also in the hope of raising awareness, but from a different perspective of what is acceptable and how we do behave and how we can make this world more understanding and accepting and comfortable for people who are living with these kinds of traumas. So this last piece is called Every Woman Who's Ever Been Abused Should Get to Spend the Night With You. Open brackets, to clarify, I don't want them to, close brackets. It wasn't my finest title moment, but it does what it says on the tin. Thank you for listening to me. It's a really powerful thing to feel heard when you're speaking. It literally saves lives. Thank you for saving my life today. Keep listening to each other, keep saving lives. And also, I like to add to this now, thanks for turning up. I've realised how much it means to me and how much it must mean to everyone else when someone turns up for you, so thank you for turning up today. And the person this poem is about has continuously turned up for me over the last year to year and a half. Every woman who's ever been abused should get to spend the night with you. To clarify, I don't want them to. For every man who took a step too close, you take a step back. Listen to my words of consent and let my body interact. Make sure it agrees with me because it works a little differently. You hug me for me, not for you, to avoid imposition. Green lights are for those who wait patiently for permission. You listen. I know you listen. See, you remember everybody's names. I haven't put a name to a face since his became a source of pain, and when you say my name, it's wrapped safely around your tongue, nothing forcing me to respond when we kiss. I don't taste the past anymore, but I'm not afraid to be young. When I pull away, you stay. Don't get closer. Bring our bodies together with your timing and experienced composer. Let me analyse the evidence of your body, full disclosure, so there's no way you can become him, reassuring my composure. Remember where you are. Remember who you're with, put your hand on my chest and listen to me breathe. It's just you and me. Let's breathe. It's okay to have a week. Crying doesn't make you weak, and if you're tired from all the fighting, we can rest and go to sleep. Just breathe. I'm drunk on your questions. Am I doing too much? Intoxicated with lust, sobered up by trust. We can adjust, there's no rush, stopping isn't a fuss. We can discuss what you need to feel safe with my touch. And if it's all too much, don't just push through. I'm here for you. I seek validation in sex. a side effect of the trauma. You seek validation, your actions are correct. Me, the teacher, you, the performer. Thank me for granting access to my body. Remind me it's a place of worship that only people who believe in me can enter. Stay as long as their faith doesn't slip. This place is sacred. No hero complex, or perhaps an awareness that all men have one. An awareness that you need to rein it in because, baby, you are not broken. I don't need to be fixed. My symphony is a remix and you're putting your beat to it. Every woman who's ever been abused should get to spend the night with you. To clarify, I don't want them to. You follow me into the flashbacks to bring me back in a flash. Encourage me to stay, but wait until I get back. Tracing the lines on your hands, I'm seeing your future while you're witnessing my past. Your hands become a raft, a lifeboat between me and his wrath. Sit with me in the past. Rewrite the narrative until his intentions are dashed. Treat me like nothing has happened once it's past. No questions asked. Just, I know you don't feel it, but I want you to know you're safe. I know you don't think it, but I need you to know that you're doing great. I say, I'm sorry I am this way. You tell me you're not. You're sorry about the trauma, but not for the way my body survives the scars it's got. You kiss my stretch marks as though they show how far I've stretched myself for people. Kiss the imprints of my bra because support shouldn't leave a dent to be healed. I don't hold my stomach in because I don't have to shrink myself to fit your ideal. I am a whole 5 courses with a coffee and a mint, not just a main meal. Hold me like I'm yours, treat me like I'm mine. We take my time. You see the parts I've tried to disguise my whole life, the thighs I've tried to reduce in size my whole life, the parts I give the least attention to, you pick them first. My worst, your most desired, societal expectations in reverse, but you don't take. You share me with me, because teamwork makes the dream a reality. I say, you drive me crazy. You say, see, crazy can be a good thing. Knowing I've used it to my detriment too many times, acknowledging others have struck me with its sting, and I scream, my God. And you're making an atheist believe. I imagine if God did make you, she took a day off. Knew she'd peaked. And maybe we'll keep this going until the passion on one side outweighs the other. Until my thighs loosen their grip and we replace the covers. Or perhaps they'll tighten, revealing more than lovers. Regardless, a person should know when they change something so powerfully for another. So this is my message to you. For empowering me to rediscover a part of me that was left to suffer. For realizing one wrong move removes progress. For understanding I can't simply just recover. Every woman who's ever been abused should get to spend the night with you. To clarify, I don't want them to. To clarify, I don't want them to. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.